Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is February the 1st, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. The day has gone well. I woke up, I did some laundry. Laundry went smoothly. I made some coffee. I was going to go to Scooter's. Line was too long. I said, I'll just make it at home. Let's see. After that, I went to work out. The workout went well. I'm very sore, but I feel like the past 2 or 3 days we've been pushing it, and that's been rewarding in its own way. I think I'm gonna try to not go as hard maybe tomorrow, next couple days or something like that. We'll see. We'll see how I feel once I get in there. But yeah, it's been a solid day. Let's see, Food Corner switched up a little bit. I went to Cane's last night, got myself a Caniac combo. It was very yummy. I will say I skipped the extra piece of toast, and that made me sad because I'm used to just having the double bread, which is nice. I feel like it changed the whole landscape of how I went about eating it. But hey, it was good. It was yummy. We'll take it. So yeah, we had a good, good day, good night last night. So here we are. Let's go ahead and do our startup. Well, actually, stop. Actually, let me do my newsy roll call. It's the top of the month. It's the first of the month. Also, happy Black History Month. It is always nice to make note of that when we can. So yeah. Anyway, uh, top of the list: Stephanie Renee, Edward Haas, and mi madre, my mother. So thank you so much, y'all, for your support. It is very much appreciated. And yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love y'all. All right, let me go ahead and also any other unnamed secret newsies. Well, not secret newsies. They just didn't want to get named anyway. Um, let's go ahead and do the startup, and we will get into it. Ooh wee. All right. First story comes from CNN. 7 dead, including one on ground, after a medevac jet with a child patient and her mother crashes in Philadelphia, mayor says. 7 people are dead, including one in a car on the ground after a twin engine medevac jet carrying a child patient and her mother crashed in a neighborhood in northeast Philadelphia Friday night. Philadelphia's mayor said Saturday morning. At least 19 people were injured on the ground. The 6 people on the plane were Mexican nationals, Mexico's president said Saturday morning. The plane crashed about 150 miles to the northeast of the Washington, D.C. area. Came as authorities continued their probe into Wednesday's deadly collision there. An American Airlines regional jet carrying 64 people and a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter with 3 soldiers on board collided on board, or soldiers on board collided over the Potomac River. Let's see. The Learjet 55 crashed after departing from Northeast Philadelphia Airport, the FAA told CNN. On board were a pediatric patient and her mother returning home to Mexico after the child had been treated in Philadelphia, said Shai Gold, spokesperson for Flight Operator Jet Rescue Air Ambulance. The girl was being treated for an illness at Shriners Children's Hospital in northeast Philadelphia. The downed Learjet was en route to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri. Gold told CNN the flight planned to stop for refueling at Springfield Airport before continuing to its final destination of Tijuana, Mexico. Now, we don't know what was the cause here for the crash. I actually should say a pilot, a co-pilot, a paramedic, and a doctor were all on board in terms of the crew members. And all 6 on board were Mexican nationals, according to the Mexico's foreign ministry. But we don't know anything as of yet as of what was the cause. We just know that there might be some evidence leading, like from the video, that one piece kind of fell first, and maybe that might be some kind of tell of what might be the cause, but we don't have really any details as of yet. I imagine more details will be coming in the future. But it's definitely very scary that this happened, because referencing the other air collision that took place a few days ago, that landed all in the Potomac mostly, so there wasn't any kind of, damage on the ground. But this was a situation where you just have one plane, but it happens over, an urban area. That's really scary. That's like an added, fear now. So, definitely a very scary situation. It's very unfortunate, that people on the ground were caught up in this. So, that being said, we still got to talk about it. Let's see. Was there anything else I really wanted to pull? No, I think we're good. Let's go ahead and move on to our next story. We're kind of going to be zigging around to and fro here. From the BBC, at least 700 killed in the Democratic Republic of Congo, or the DRC, fighting since Sunday. The UN says at least 700 people have been killed in intense fighting in Goma, the largest city in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, since Sunday. UN spokesperson Stephanie Dujarric said 2,800 people have been injured as M23 rebels backed by Rwanda captured the capital of North Kivu province. The rebels are now reported to be moving towards Bukavu, the capital of South Kivu. The conflict in eastern DRC dates back to the 90s, but has rapidly escalated in recent weeks. M23, which is made up of ethnic Tutsis, says they are fighting for minority rights, while DRC's government says the Rwandan-backed rebels are seeking control of the eastern region's vast mineral wealth. So it was worth reading that, because I know I haven't really mentioned much of the details surrounding why the M23 rebels are doing what they're doing, like, who's backing them. So with Rwanda, essentially they get a lot of international support. And what is being alleged is that with that international support, they are funding these rebels to essentially make pushes to plunder, do whatever, terrorize the DRC and try to take over. Now, for them, Rwanda, they say, no, that's not what we're doing. If anything, we are trying to support and bolster our borders because we don't want any spillover from the DRC. But when you just look at this on the map, it's just crazy to kind of see that, if this is going the way that people are saying, it's like Rwanda is kind of using this force to kind of make these pushes into this huge, vast area. And, now you have a situation where, the DRC and other countries have to, rally. So that's where we're at with that. It's crazy to hear a number that big in terms of 700, and then also 2,800 people in terms of like just being injured. So many people being moved along, displaced, which is very unfortunate, to just be in like this constant state of fear, Let me see here. UN experts estimated last year that Rwanda had between 3,000 and 4,000 troops operating alongside the M23 in eastern DRC. On Friday, the Southern African Development Community, or SADC, I'm going to say SADC, regional bloc declared its support for the DRC at a crisis summit in Zimbabwe. I didn't mention the crisis summit. I know that took place, I believe, Wednesday. That was another development. So I'm glad I got to kind of read that there. Let's see. The SADC has sent peacekeeping troops primarily from South Africa to the DRC to combat armed groups like the M23 and restore peace in the mineral-rich region after decades of unrest. 16 soldiers from southern African countries have been killed in clashes with the M23 around Goma in the past week. We're more or less at the end here. So yeah, that's just a bit of an update. I will try to, just keep y'all posted on, what I see and hear coming out of the region, and what I learned, because, I learned a little bit here and there. The more these kind of things come up, I mean, obviously it's a really grim way to kind of get an education on a thing or a place or people or situation, whatever. But, so it goes. Like I said, we're going to be zigging back to the States. We're going to a dispute between New York and Louisiana over abortion. So this is a bit of a sticky wicket here we're about to get into. From the Associated Press. Actually, let me get some water. I'm thirsty. All right. Arrest warrant issued for New York doctor indicted in Louisiana for prescribing abortion pill. An arrest warrant has been issued for a New York doctor indicted on Friday by a Louisiana grand jury for allegedly prescribing abortion pills online to a pregnant minor in the Deep South state, which has one of the strictest near total abortion bans in the country. Grand jurors at the district court for the parish of West Baton Rouge, like I can't say it, parish of West Baton Rouge, unanimously issued an indictment against Dr. Margaret Carpenter, her company Nightingale Medical, PC, and the minor's mother. All three were charged with criminal abortion by means of abortion-inducing drugs, a felony. In addition to Carpenter, an arrest warrant was issued for the mother, who has not been publicly identified to protect the identity of the minor. District Attorney Tony Clayton told the Associated Press that the mother turned herself in to police on Friday. So it's crazy that this is not just something that they're aiming at, a doctor, but they're also aiming at a mom because they're like, oh, we can't get the actual, person who's doing the abortion, but we don't like abortion. We need to make a stand here. We need to send a message, which I believe you could get up to 15 years in prison and or $200,000 fine for this crime, by the way, that they are being indicted for. Grand jurors at the district court for the I already read that, my bad. In addition to Carpenter, and did I read this too? The case appears to be the first instance of criminal charges against a doctor accused of sending abortion pills to another state, at least since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022 and opened the door for states to have strict anti-abortion laws. We expect Dr. Carpenter to come to Louisiana and answer to these charges. And if 12 people, a jury, think she's innocent, then let it go, Clayton said, the district attorney. New York Governor Kathy Hochul said in a video posted on social media, "I will never, under any circumstances, turn this doctor over to the state of Louisiana under any extradition requests," signaling a potential legal battle between the states. Last year, the Port Allen, Louisiana woman requested abortion medication online from Carpenter for her daughter, whose age has not been specified. Clayton said the request was made through a questionnaire only and no consultation with the girl. So the whole cocktail of drugs like methylpistone and the other one that's escaping me, which also they mentioned in this article, Louisiana has listed as illegal drugs. So you can only have them if you have a prescription, which in this situation you would have it for the to have the abortion or whatever. So it's like, okay, you'd be prescribed for it by a doctor, but essentially they're trying to go out of their way to villainize the drug and try to criminalize it. So it's like, hey, if you have it in any kind of way that we can prove that's not legal, then we're gonna get you for that too. Let's see. After taking the drug, the girl experienced a medical emergency while alone, called 911, and was transported to the hospital where she was treated. While responding to the emergency, a police officer learned about the pills and, under further investigation, found that a doctor in New York State has applied the drugs and turned their findings over to Clayton's office. It's such a weird time that we live in that this is some kind of like Law and Order style situation where it's like, damn, looks like they were trying to maybe have an report. Like, why does this matter? Like, you've already done your civic duty here. Like, no, like under in Louisiana, I got to make sure this wasn't this was all on the level that no abortion was happening, and oops a daisy, looks like there was. So I gotta turn this over, and now we gotta potentially try to indict someone in New York for doing their job. Now New York has these shield laws, but essentially with the stripping of Roe v. Wade, you just have the evolution of we are going to try to exercise our state's rights no matter what, at any cost. And if it infringes on your state's rights over there, we don't care. We're going to take it all the way up. So, I mean, it escalates so fast, which I think is a very interesting thing about this in terms of you talk about these things or you hear these things theorized, but just, the climate of the times, the pace of everything, it's just like we are already here now and, it's happening. And, we're going to see these cases go, I would imagine, all the way up to the Supreme Court and what they're going to say, how they're going to rule. Because essentially they said, hey, if we get rid of Roe v. Wade, we now leave it up to the states and everything's going to be as it should be. But we clearly see that, no, it's not that. There's always going to be another escalation. There's always going to be a new horizon to fight for this culture war. On whatever issue it is. And we never wind up solving anything along the way, which fucking sucks. But needless to say, it's a shame that people's like livelihoods are at stake here. It's worth mentioning with Carpenter. We've covered her before. Carpenter was sued in December by the Texas Attorney General under similar allegations of sending pills to that state. That case did not involve criminal charges. So once again, that's what I'm saying is the evolution of this. It's like it starts with like these little lawsuits, and it's like, okay, and I say little lawsuits, but that's your whole livelihood. That's your whole, legal your whole career, your office. You're potentially getting shut down by a move like that if you lose a lawsuit like that. So I mean, and now it's like, no, we're going to try to put you in jail. So it's a shame that the climate is taking this way, that it's escalating in this way, but so it goes. I hope that this shit is unsuccessful, because you shouldn't have to, go through this. And for Carpenter, I don't know. That's a head spin. I think I wouldn't go. I think I would just stay. I'm not a traveling man, so that's easy for me to say. I would just stay right where I'm at. But do you fight this? Because I mean, now are we living in a time now where it's like, damn, like I got to stay in this like blue state because if I go to this red state, I might potentially be doing something illegal. Like, once again, it makes you feel like you're in a twilight moment of like, what year am I in? What time frame zone is this? It's spooky. It's ooky. But let's go ahead and move along. Just wanted to talk about that a little bit, yap a little bit. Let's go ahead and move on to the next beat, our last one for the day. Once again, from the Associated Press. Let's go ahead and take our last break and we'll close it out. We're going to Venezuela. Okay. Venezuela frees 6 Americans after meeting between President Maduro and Trump's envoy. 6 Americans who have been detained in Venezuela in recent months were freed by the government of President Nicolas Maduro after he met Friday with a Trump administration official tasked with urging the authoritarian leader to take back deported migrants who have committed crimes in the United States. U.S. President Donald Trump and his envoy for special missions, Richard Grenell, announced the release of the 6 men on social media. The visit by Grenell came as a shock to many Venezuelans who hoped that Trump would continue the maximum pressure campaign he pursued against Maduro during his first term. As well as other Republicans, they're very gung-ho about being like, hey, we can't give this guy an inch. We can't even like talk to him. Da, da, da. But meanwhile, Trump's like, look, I might have done that the first time, but this time I'm not doing that. I'm going to make a move so I can just get what I want. And I want this migrant shit to keep happening. I want to keep deporting people. And Venezuela will just not take these people back. But if I can go and talk to them and actually have an envoy and maybe make something happen, not only will I get that to work, but I also get points for getting people back home. I get Americans back home. Because essentially, I believe they got caught in the protesting dragnet. So essentially, it's like, hey, you're doing, anti-Venezuelan activity or whatever. So, we're arresting you for that. So essentially, you get 6 people. I believe there's 10. It's mentioned in this article. So, I mean, these are all good brownie points for Trump and the administration very early on. But at the same time, the whole we're not negotiating with, with dictators, terrorists, da 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 da, rah rah rah. You don't want to have these kind of situations unfold and saying, hey, we did do the negotiation actually. But it just kind of goes to show that I think Trump is more aware this time that he doesn't have to really care. And maybe that's always just been him. It doesn't matter. He's very fluid. I love how they say it. They say he's transactional. And that's fair. That's very true. It's like, look, I don't give a shit about an ideology or whatever people might think or want. If I think it's a good idea, I'm going to try to make that happen. I'm going to try to push for it. And that's what it seems like he will do. So, I mean, in this situation, it seemingly works. But to say it's that different from like someone like Biden, it's not. Democrats did this before. The Biden administration did this in situations where it's like, hey, we will work with Venezuela. We will talk with Venezuela to try to get what we want. But we're also not going to, accept Nicolas Maduro. He's not a president. It's not a democracy. Rah, rah, rah. I mean, okay, cool, whatever. But you're still going to work with them. You're still going to, make these things happen. So, all right. Okay. I just kind of decided I was going to riff that. I feel like that's fine. That feels good. That'll be the episode for the day. Let's see here. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/AisaiahNews. Become a newsie today, and you too can be on the roll call. And, I also plug some stuff if you want. If there's some kind of ad roll you want me to read, I'll do it there. It's a very low shill point for me. There you go. It's easy. So, yeah, there you go. Free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. And subscribe to the YouTube. That's a free way to help out the effort. Hit the like button. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.